It wasn't the skating that stunned us. It was how mundane it looked. No grand hype, no press releases, no the Queen returns. Some grainy footage from Japan, chilly rink. That hollow echo, a voice giggling somewhere, then Alysa Liu just appears. She isn't competing or posing for cameras, just gliding there like she never left, totally effortless and casual. That's the surreal part, because only a few weeks ago everything changed for her. She'd hit the absolute peak of her career, the kind of fame that traps you in endless interviews and crushing expectations. You don't walk away from that high, not silently, but that's exactly what she did. No world championships, no title defense, just silence. People whispered, but it stayed quiet. It felt like a collective pause we all agreed not to probe. Until now, because he showed up. Ilia Malinin is right there with her. Same frame, same vibe. If you've been watching, even casually, this duo feels off. Not after Milan, you know the one. Even if you aren't a hardcore fan, you saw the shock. Something felt wrong. The falls were brutal, sure, but it was his eyes afterward, the dead silence, and that shaky hesitation before leaving the ice. Something broke inside him. Then Prague happens. He returns aggressive, dangerously sharp, hitting every quad and taking the gold, like he felt nothing. It should make sense, yet it doesn't, because here he is laughing, weightless, skating like none of that pressure ever actually existed. So what's this? A vacation? A full reset? Or a secret nobody is talking about? There's a hidden detail here. The person holding the phone, not a stranger. Look at the steady angle. Even the accidental shakes feel totally planned out. Like the cameraman knew the moment, didn't bother with a caption, just uploaded it and watched the internet explode with theories. The comments came in fast, pure confusion. Wait, why them? Is this live? Did I miss something big? That's the shift. When things make zero sense, we look closer. And the timing? It's just bizarre. Not months later, after some rest. This was practically overnight. It feels like whatever ended never did, or maybe they just moved on together. Watch it again, watch the things they aren't saying. Everyone calls it a break. That's the story, an Olympic break to breathe and reset. It sounds fine, but it looks wrong because real breaks don't look like this. They aren't this sudden or immediate. They don't happen on camera with someone like Ilia standing right there in the same shot. This didn't start in Japan. Maybe it began way back after Milan. If you look at the footage, not the scores, things felt slightly twisted. Alysa is smiling, playing the part, but there's this weird distance hard to name but easy to feel if you're looking. Usually, athletes at that peak don't just vanish after winning. They stay. She didn't. She just drifted away without a statement or a big goodbye. Worlds happens, and she's gone. No injury report, no reason, just a choice. People just moved on. She'll be back, maybe. But this new clip breaks that logic. Because while she was vanishing, Ilia was fighting through a total meltdown. Milan wasn't just a bad day. It looked heavy, like every jump carried a burden. Not just the physical stuff, pressure, expectations. Then Prague. A different guy. Sharper, colder, no doubt left. He didn't just win, he burned the memory of Milan. And now here they both are. Same ice, same calm energy. That crossover doesn't feel like an accident. One running from the spotlight, one crushing it, and they meet right here. No PR statement, nobody saying why, just one video and a million people trying to piece it together. Some claim it's just a tour or coincidence, but when things line up this perfectly, just feels like a lie. Look at their movement. No show, no competition, just existing there like they're holding something back, waiting for the right moment. Eventually, the question changes. It's no longer about what they are doing. You can find an official excuse if you want one. Tours, contracts, simple scheduling. But that's not why we keep watching. It's the vibe, because reality doesn't look like this. Zero hype. No performer energy. Not even a hint that they had something to prove. It feels almost cold, which is weird. Especially when you consider what they both just endured. Look at the clock again. Forget the calendar, focus on the feeling. For Ilia, Milan was way more than just another stop. It should have been his moment, the one that made him untouchable. But something fractured. Not a total break, just a hairline crack everyone saw. Those kinds of moments don't just fade away, even if you win the next week. Actually, especially then, because winning fixes the scoreboard. It doesn't always heal what's happening on the inside. Then you have Alysa winning every single thing and then just walking away at the absolute top. That one's a mystery. No crash, no failure, no public meltdown, just quiet. which is actually louder because walking away while you're still winning isn't just taking a breather, it's a deliberate choice. And choices like that usually come from a place much deeper than most people are willing to go. So here we are. Two paths. One breaks, then tries to rebuild. One wins, then just vanishes. And somehow they cross paths here, not at a stadium but on this silent rink. That's the part that hooks everyone. It isn't what they're doing, it's what it might actually mean. Because once you strip away the titles, the gold, and the fame, you're left with something much more basic. Just two kids on the ice. No stakes, no score, just moving. For athletes in their world, that's totally alien. It's almost weird. Like they're trying on a life that doesn't include the skater label. Or maybe just testing how it feels to skate for themselves again. There's a moment, blink and you'll miss it, where Alysa slows down and almost stops. She turns away. Not from the lens, but from everything else. It lasts maybe 1 second, but it sticks because it isn't a performance. It's a thought. Meanwhile, Ilia doesn't even look over. He's in his own head, miles away. So, maybe it's not about what they're doing. Maybe it's about what they've finally stopped doing. That's the difference that's starting to matter more than anything else. At some point, the fans stopped asking, "Where are they?" and started asking something else. Nobody says it directly, but look at the comments, the whole vibe changed. Why does this feel so off? It's not a disaster or even drama, it's just different. Honestly, if this were just about a summer tour, people wouldn't be obsessing like this. It would be routine, simple, easy to just scroll past. But it's not. That clip is everywhere. People are frame-stepping, watching tiny details that shouldn't matter, but somehow do. And that usually points to one thing. There is something buried under the surface. It isn't obvious or confirmed, but you can feel it. The timing is the key. After high-stakes drama, whether you win everything or lose control, you usually need distance and time to find your center. That didn't happen here. Or, at least, it didn't happen in the way we expected it to. It's like they skipped the breakdown and went straight to the piece, which is confusing because we don't have a label for that. No, I'm back. No, I quit. No clean story. Just movement. It makes us uncomfortable. We're used to knowing the phase: rising, peak, falling, return. None of that fits here. In this clip, Alysa isn't hunting for a score. She has nothing left to prove. And Ilia doesn't look like he's trying to win back his honor either. If anything, he actually looks lighter. But not like he just won. More like he dropped a heavy coat. Kinda go pressure, expectation, something we haven't quite figured out how to name yet. There is a simple version of this. They finished the season. They joined the tour. They're just chilling. That version exists, but it doesn't explain the vibe. And when facts don't match the feeling, we start digging. We're curious. Not in a mean way, but because there's a huge difference between knowing the facts and feeling the truth. Right now, most of us have the first part, but not the second. That specific gap is why we're still talking. It's not the skills or the place, but the nagging feeling that the tectonic plates shifted, even if no one's named it yet. And maybe that's the point. Once a story gets too clear, it stops being interesting. You could write this story as a logic puzzle. Olympics, stress, retirement, tour, appearances. It all adds up perfectly on paper. But it doesn't actually stay with you. The part that sticks? Something else. That clip, and the way it never quite resolves. Even when you know where they are, you still feel like something is slightly unfinished. It's likely because we're obsessed with cramming this into a framework that honestly doesn't even exist anymore. We want the typical athlete's arc: dominate, build a legacy, or crash hard only to rise again. But what if those paths don't fit? What if a champion wins everything and just walks away? Or someone breaks, then returns sharper but noticeably quieter? Then you see them both in the same frame, not fighting for glory, just existing in that space. That lack of clarity is jarring. It leaves a void, and people hate voids because they force you to interpret the silence. You have to decide what's actually happening without some narrator spelling it out. Some call it freedom, some see a fuse burning towards something massive, while others feel a shift they can't quite put into words yet. Watch the very end of that video. It's a blink and miss it moment where the tempo changes not literally, but in your gut, where the urgency dies, the clocks stop, and expectation just evaporates. For people who've spent their entire lives being judged by a fraction of a second, that level of stillness feels wrong, almost alien, and probably fleeting, because eventually a label will arrive, a comeback, a pivot, or a total departure. But right now, it has no name. That's exactly why we can't stop watching, not to see what we expect, but to solve the mystery of what this actually is, because it hasn't fully revealed itself yet. Until that happens, this whole scene doesn't feel like an ending. It's clearly the middle of a story, one that hasn't been told yet and might stay hidden for a while, which is why it's so hypnotic, not because of answers, but the one thing still hidden.